Welcome to the April 16th meeting of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Dear Lord, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with the spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other and to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be. We ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Here.
Councilman Petlevani?
Here.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Here.
Let the record show Councilwoman Rosbowski is absent. Supervisor Ketzler?
Here. Let's start with, right on the agenda with item number 4, Town Council reports. I'll start on my left with Councilman Ramichardt.
Yes, a couple of things, Mr. Supervisor. For our work session last week, the Senior Center is looking at an expansion. They're going to develop RFPs for an architect, and we'll hear about more about that later. Dog Park plans progressing nicely. Park Commission will hold a public meeting in May to present a draft book, and it's going to be open for public comment. And it looks like EIG last meeting, this is going to be pretty cool. EIG during the last meeting made recommendations to replace the town's water meters, and town board obviously will receive a formal recommendation and details over the next few weeks, which I'm sure you're well aware of. And lastly, received a letter, this was just recently from the Office of Parks and Recreation, that the Green Corners one-room schoolhouse is going to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
That's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice. And that's it.
And so that project is not done though yet completely, right? The rehab?
No. Actually, because of that, it might actually help with rehabilitation and fundraising.
Great. Beautiful. Thank you. Councilman Martin.
Yes, I'm pleased to report that the Glenville Local Development Corporation, as of Tuesday, approved their first loan for $66,000 to Riverstone Manor for assisting with some capital improvements down there. And I have to say that the review on their first time went very well. It was very thorough. Due diligence was followed, and I think they came to a good decision. They have several other loans immediately in the hopper, and the good news is they may be actually running out of money very soon, so things come to fruition. The other thing is I went to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting the other night. There was no real action taken, just a couple items of note. The multifamily housing project on Route 50 got tabled. I think I told Chris about that. There's some problems with the septic tank that exists on site, the former one. There's evidence of it leaking, so they have to do some further investigation about with the soils and water around it. And then let's see, the other item on the agenda was, and it may involve us at some point, is there's a use variance for electric fence. There's two forms of relief, if you will, for the applicant. One is a use variance that they're trying. I don't know how that's trending. In my opinion, it doesn't look very good, but you know, it's up to the zoning board, obviously. And then if not, they may be looking to us for some legislative relief in that regard.
And that's for Old Dominion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for Old Dominion. I sort of should have said that. Yep. So that's really all that happened there. So that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Petlevani.
Yes, I attended the DARE Advisory Board meeting last night, and they're ramping up for the golf tournament, which is going to be on June 7th at Fairways at Half Moon. This is the only fundraiser that the advisory board does for DARE. The money raised is used for teaching supplies, graduation shirts, and so forth for the DARE students in Glendale, Glenwarden, and Pashley School. So we're looking for golfers and sponsors. If anybody is interested, they can call Rick Treziak here at the town hall.
I think we got most of our team put together. I know Jim and I are on the team. Are you on the team?
No, but if there's room,
I think there's still 2 open.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go, Mike?
I'll go.
Oh, Michael, really got the team. Look at
See,
that.
just that
All
easy.
right.
Pretty formidable, I'd
That
say.
leaves you out. I know. We'll get you on another team. There'll be a B team. You're going to be on the B team.
Jamie says, I ain't stinking bees. I'll
B's for better. All right, so we'll move on to item number 5, which is a public hearing to hear all those interested in the proposed extension of Water District 3, consisting of one parcel located at 491-493 Bly Road. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone interested in being heard on that? Going once, going twice. That public hearing is now closed. Next public hearing is a public hearing to hear all persons interested in the proposed dedication and acceptance of the public improvements to the extension of Sewer District 5, located at 117 and 119 Hortsman Drive. We'll open that public hearing. Anyone interested to be heard? Going once, going twice. That public hearing is now closed. We'll move to privilege of the floor. That's okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's something there. We don't have everyone signed up. Anyone wish to be heard at privilege of the floor? Seeing none, privilege of the floor is closed. Move the supervisor's comments to the board. Just real quick on a few items of note. I think some of it's already been talked about here tonight, but we did receive word today, or actually the application for a national family restaurant to go here in Town Center, right where Teresa's is. So the application is in the town. The planner is reviewing it. The chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission will review it. I believe tomorrow the staff, at the staff meeting, they'll be reviewing it as well. But that's very good news for us because it looks like a good application. It's a national chain, and it's something that's going to really help our town center going forward. So that's really good news. We also received word that we're on the short list of yet another national restaurant chain who's interested in coming to Glenville. A couple sites are being considered at the moment. Nothing official yet or nothing determined, but we've made the next round. This was the national chain we all talked about. We went out and met with them when they were in Albany and really presented Glenville, I think, in the best light. And because of that, I think we're on the short list. So that's very good news as well. We are also, we heard, on the short list, a lot of short lists, for a major production facility in the tech park. This is beyond the other 2 that are already there. That's very good news if that pans out. The town staff and I will be meeting with Metroplex and representatives from that company. It'll be our second meeting next week about the site, and so that's yet more very good news. So there's a lot of stuff percolating right now, and hopefully over the next coming weeks we'll have more details that we can present on these projects. Just a reminder, we have, as you all know, the Let's Talk Business next week, the 24th. The state comptroller is coming to that. We were able to secure a tour of Tech Park with the comptroller and Ray Gillen prior to the event. So there's a lot of interest going on at that Tech Park right now. To the extent that the comptroller of the state is coming to tour it, I think is a real positive, and that's going to, I think, be nice for us. Last week I visited Mohawk Ambulance. They welcomed some new EMTs. I don't know if you saw it in the media. They welcomed new EMTs to the facility. So there's 3 new jobs here in Glenville, which is great, but they're expanding. So that's good news. I was able to talk with them a little bit and welcome them and encourage them to shop in our restaurants and in our stores. And they're excited about being in Glenville. I met with the newsletter printer as well. We're in the kind of the end stages of getting the newsletter together. So if you have anything for that, even if it's just an idea that you want staff and I to flush out, let us know. The newsletter is scheduled to hit in May, so just be considerate that time sensitivity. No sense talking about something coming in April or something. This is really for May, June, July timeframe. Just let us know and we'll make sure it gets in there. On April 10th, I met with the supervisor of Clifton Park and the supervisor of Ballston, town of Ballston, and we had a nice breakfast and talked about ideas of how we can share services together as three towns. It was a very productive meeting, a lot of good ideas, not a lot that we can talk about yet because they're all preliminary ideas, but one of the ones I thought was interesting that came out of it is Ballston is very interested in sharing our dog park with us. They don't have a dog park, and right now the softball fields in Jenkins is where people used to walk their dog. And so I think we have an opportunity to work with the municipality on that, and that's going to help offset our costs as well. And I think that would be a great partnership for us. Also the same day on the 10th, I spoke with the lighting district consultant about opportunities to really get this lighting district complete. As you know, because the sidewalks are going in, we have to get the lighting district complete, and we're working on financing mechanisms for that, which are tied to some of our economic development initiatives, so that's all progressing. Sometimes it goes quiet. I don't want you to think that we're not working on it, but it is progressing. It's just going a little bit quiet at the moment. On the 11th, I did have a chance to attend the EIG meeting as Councilman Ramatar talked about the auto read meters. They were very enthusiastic, as you know, on suggesting to the town board that we move to auto read water meters. Right now, they're looking at different vendors and they're interviewing different municipalities on how different municipalities have implemented that, and they should have a recommendation on implementation going forward as well. We met with Department of Transportation on some potential changes to some rail lines and some changes to Freeman's Bridge Road, which might help development there. It's very preliminary at this particular juncture, but there are some things that they're talking about possibly changing over the coming years that will be very beneficial to the town. We also met with our energy provider, Jamie and I, today to talk about our demand response program and how we can get some more revenue off of that program. It's a very productive program for us. As you know, it's revenue into the town each year, and we're trying to expand that into 2015. So we're talking with Tom Capola on how we can include the senior center using the generator that's going to be hopefully wired into that at some point. And the new generator for Town Hall that will help cover, hopefully drive more revenue on that program. So that's going on as well. I had the opportunity to attend Chief Charlie Keller's retirement party this past Friday. I thanked him for his many years of service to the village and the town. I conveyed your best wishes to him. It was a very nice ceremony and event for the chief. I guess he's moving on to North or South Carolina, unfortunately, but as you know, Chief Elney is now, or soon to be Chief Elney, will be taking over the fire department, and we wish him the best as well, and I conveyed that as well. I wanted to thank Joelle and Gretchen for working on a grant to get our brand new tables. They match our wood better. They look great. We got some more work to do. I think maybe this lectern needs to be kind of replaced next, and that wood paneling could probably use some sort of sprucing up, so we'll be talking to Tom to try to bring the room together a little bit better, but they did a good job of getting the money for those tables, and we appreciate it. Financially, just a real quick, you're going to get this information in your email if you haven't already from Jason, but we ended 2013 with a surplus in our town general fund of $325,000. We had an exceptionally strong mortgage tax revenues for 2013 when we ended $225,000, which accounts for $225,000 of the surplus. Mortgage tax revenues have dropped significantly in 2014 though, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Our town outside village fund, the surplus is $248,000. Building permits came in almost $100,000 above budget, and that drove much of that surplus. We also had savings in employee benefits, largely due to budgeting very conservatively for a police retirement in 2013. Highway would have had a surplus if we had not paid $105,000 in cash, which was unbudgeted for the front end loader. Otherwise, it's a small deficit because we use cash to buy that front-end loader. Sewer fund had a surplus of $154,000, and water had a deficit of $105,000. We should have a surplus in 2014 due to the new Clifton Park water revenue and Ballston water revenue. And I also had a chance to talk to the supervisors about that as well, and they do seem very happy with our water, and they'll be continuing to be a customer to some level in the future. I don't know if it's at the current level, but at some level. As far as 2014, some things just to make note of. Our overall expenses for the first quarter in 2014 were up 2%, or $70,000 over 2013. That $20,000, however, includes the New York State retirement expense increased 12%, or $35,000 in 2014, and all other employee benefits increased by nearly 4%, or $27,000. Police overtime expense did drop by 3.5%, as we figured it would when we had the new officers on. Total police expense, not including benefits, was flat from last year overall. The snowy winter did have an impact on our budget, as you would imagine. We increased our salt expense by 23% this year, or $20,000, over the first quarter of 2013. Snow removal overtime also increased $18,000 from last year, and employee benefits and heavy snowfall essentially account for the entire increase in spending. If it wasn't for that, we would have had our spending is actually down $30,000 over last year, same quarter, except for those two items. Couldn't do anything about the winter. We had a bad winter, so that's just the way it is. And we couldn't do anything about the retirement expense as well. Some things just to consider in 2014, our mortgage tax revenues through March of this year have decreased by 45%, or $185,000 so far from the same period last year. Our 2015 tax cap is based on 1.4, not a 2%. The village tax cap, I think, was 1.49, and they went to 1.99, so they broke the cap by 0.5%, it appears. But ours is at 1.4, and of that, we anticipate 7% increase in election expense, which is $25,000 that will eat into the cap. And the expense for the fire district, protection 4 will go up 2% as well. That will also eat into the cap. So I just want to give that overcap of the finances so we kind of have a sense after the first quarter where we all are and where we're going. I think we emailed this to the board, Jason's comments about where we are, and then again, my echoing what I've talked about at the last board meeting, that we'd like to have our department heads stay within budget right now, not go over the budget, not look to the fund balance for things, but to find in the budget what they need at this particular juncture, until we get a better handle on mortgage tax. Councilman Martin mentioned that mortgages were up. They're saying on the news, I'm hoping that translates to some good news, but we're so far behind, I don't think we're going to hit the number. Let's just try to get closer to it at this particular juncture. So that's all I have. Anyone have any questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, so back to the agenda, which is item number 9, a resolution authorizing the submission to Schenectady County Civil Service. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, although New York State law, section 42 provides a town board of any town be able to create a position of deputy town supervisor, and the town of Glenville has done so for many years. The same town law provides that any person who's a resident of the town be appointed deputy town supervisor, and the town board shall fix that compensation. The town was recently informed by Schenectady County Civil Service Commission that the position does not separately exist. So this is just to give our town attorney the authorization to file the required paperwork so we can create that appointed position and be in compliance with the rules of civil service.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilman
Yes.
Councilman Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 10 appointing interested volunteers to EIG. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. EIG Efficiency in Government for the Town of Glenville is pursuing initiatives which best developed and advanced by volunteer members with a broad knowledge base, and we have 5 individuals who fit that criteria. In 2014, the town solicited for additional members of EIG to assist with committees, various initiatives in the areas of information technology, energy, performance engineering, performance analysis, and more, and the town received many resumes. Of those, the 5 people that are listed below are going to be appointed: Mary Birch Macaron of 34 Baldwin Road, Tom Annapolis, 52 Woodcrest Drive, Kernan Davis, 20 Underdog Road, Paul Kenny, 48 Swagertown Road, Scott McDonough of 11 Underdog Road. And as it be further resolved that the members of the town board hereby wishes to express their thanks to these individuals for their commitment to assisting the town for their time they will donate in doing so.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalano?
Yes.
Councilman Ramotaro?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 11, adopting extension number 1 to Water District 3 in the town of Glenville. Do I have a motion?
So
Do
moved.
I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Just for background, we just had a public hearing on this. This is a resolution that really allows us to use extension number 1 for Water District 3 for properties of 491 to 493 Bly Road. Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalano?
Yes.
Councilman Ramotaro?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 12, accepting the dedication of public improvements to the extension of sewer district number 5. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any discussion? Again, this is the public hearing we just opened to allow for the sewer district to be extended to 117 and 119 Hortsman Drive. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalano?
Yes.
Councilman Ramotaro?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 13, approving amendments to the 2014 adopted budget. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second and third. Just for discussion, this is typically, for those who've been on the board a while, we normally take a year-end opportunity to make all the budget changes that have to be made from line to line. Comptroller Jason, I think since he's been here, has thought it was more efficient and easier to take this on a quarterly basis, so we're not doing it all at the end of the year. So these are essentially bookkeeping changes to the budget that Jason would, our comptroller would like to make this quarter. We'll see these now going forward every end of quarter, so that we're doing it as we go as opposed to end of the year. Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalano?
Yes.
Councilman Ramotaro?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 14, approving the monthly department reports. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any questions, comments, changes, additions? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalano?
Yes.
Councilman Ramotaro?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 15, approving the town board minutes for February 19th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion, changes? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalano?
I'd have to look and see if I was here for that meeting. I don't believe I was here.
No, you were here.
Okay. I'm sorry, it was March 15th I was away. Yes.
Councilman Ramotaro?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 16 is an add-on authorizing the highway superintendent to enter into a memorandum of agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Just for point of discussion, the Highway Department Employees Association filed a grievance on some action that our highway superintendent had taken regarding plowing. This agreement does preserve the highway superintendent's statutory duties and ensures that town highways are kept clear of ice and snow, but it does ask the superintendent to really go through the list of eligible collective bargaining employees before taking up that activity. So it's an agreement between the town and the collective bargaining unit that this would settle the improper practice charge, preserve the superintendent's statutory rights, recognize an existing intermunicipal agreement protecting the exclusivity of collective bargaining unit. I like to say I think the highway superintendent has done an outstanding job at working with his employees in a very efficient manner, keeping the roads clean and open and doing what needs to be done to get the job done. And I commend him for that. So I'm glad this agreement preserves his ability, his management prerogative, and his ability to continue to do that job as well as he's been doing it. Any other questions or comments?
This agreement would settle the improper practice charge?
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution is another add-on. It's not on the agenda, but it's add-on number 2. And this is add-on, I'll give you the very short version on this. So when we had a tough winter, it got so cold that we essentially had frost go 54 inches or so down, I believe. And what had happened, there was a water main break at 22 Dorothy Lane in the town of Glenville. The property owner paid the total of the $2,423.52 to private plumbing firms to restore water service to the property as an emergency action. It really was our responsibility, but the homeowner paid to get it going. During the repairs of the water service, it was determined that the service failure occurred in the area of water infrastructure, which is the responsibility of the town, not the homeowner. So it's our responsibility. Everybody thought it was her responsibility. So the notice of claim was filed against the town. The town clerk received it for a request of $24,2352. Receipts were provided detailing all the expenses. The Commissioner of Public Works is in agreement with this. He believes it was our responsibility to certify the expenditures are correct and accurate. After consulting with the town attorney, it appears that the settlement is deemed to be just and reasonable in the interest of the town. Essentially, it's our dime. So this resolution would reimburse Beverly Lemon to settle the claim against the town of Glenville for failure of water service at her property of 22 Dorothy Lane. And the said payment would be made to Ms. Lemon to settle the claim. Any questions or comments?
I just think this happened pretty quickly. You know, there's a lot of investigation there. It's only February 25th. That's
Yeah.
a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
So,
Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Last item on the agenda is new business, and I'll start on my left with Councilman Ramichardt. Any new business?
Just want to remind everyone that any changes to anyone's assessment, they'll be receiving something in the mail. May 1st is going to be mailed out, and May 27th is grievance day. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Martin.
yes, I was at a conference earlier this week, or it was last week, I'm sorry. That's why I couldn't be at the workshop last week. But a representative was there from the Association of Counties and briefing the group on the tax rebate system that was passed with the recent state budget. And as I understand it, the rebate's going to go into effect with the tax bills this fall with the school tax. And then the town tax is the next one to follow in January. And in order to qualify for that one, you have to have a plan submitted for, I forget the exact name, maybe Jason, you know? The exact name was mentioned of what the plan is called, but I made particular note that the representative said the plan only need to be prepared, and he was obviously not very much in favor of this whole system, but he said, nonetheless, I'll brief you on the law. He said the plan had to be prepared, but not necessarily followed. So,
But if you don't, then your second and third year is gonna be the problem, I think, out years.
well, I tried to gain as much information as I can. It was very brief, but I do think it's something that we ought to start preparing for, because I think the residents are going to be looking for that. They're going to be looking to see, you know, how we qualify, and I just think now's the time to start thinking about it.
Agreed, and my meeting with the two supervisors was really part of that strategy.
Okay, so all right, but that's all I heard. I wish I had more, but I thought it was interesting what little bit I did hear.
Thank you. Councilman Pittavani.
I have no new business.
I have two quick things I want to just throw out there. One is for consideration. I've had a few questions about starting the board meeting at 7 as opposed to 7:30. So I don't know if anyone has a preference on that, but if you can consider that, maybe at the work session we can talk about starting our meetings at 7 as opposed to 7:30. One of the reasons is every other town meeting is at 7, just for uniformity. And some people just think it starts a little late, 7:30. This was a holdover from the Quinn administration. They wanted to go to 7:30 for one of the board members that couldn't make it before 7. I don't have a preference myself, earlier better probably, but at least consider it for next work session. We can just kind of, or just email me what your preference is and we can go from there. The last thing real quick is we're getting word now officially of 3 more retirements. We won't go into names here publicly, but what we've always talked about is happening. We've already had a couple, now we have 3 more. I asked you if they're in your area, start thinking creatively about how to replace, backfill, do whatever we need to do. I know Jason, Jamie, Mike, and I have talked about different organizational changes going forward, but they're starting to come at a pretty rapid rate, and this is what we've been talking about since last budget. It's an opportunity for everybody. It's obviously a challenge. We're losing some institutional knowledge, but it's an opportunity as well for the town to look at how to operate going forward. So that's really all I had for new business as well. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about that next work session. In the meantime, I guess a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it.
Second. Moving second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Try to get there by 8.